All right, we should have the agenda,
Can I have one?
very short and quick and to the point.
Do I have an agenda, please?
Oh, you don't have one? Oh,
I don't have a printer at my house. I'm sorry.
there should be one back on the table.
Oh, I
Should one
Yeah.
right-
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry, I'll have to remember that.
Anybody else need one?
Okay, so,
Thank you, sir.
I wanna get the minutes approved from our first meeting, all right? Now, the minutes, you all should have the minutes. They weren't part of the package, so John, I don't know if you got a chance to see the minutes.
I saw the minutes, that there weren't much.
There's no objection as they were written. I'd like to have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Eric and John. Okay, so a little bit of discussion on the minutes. I decided that until there's an approved minutes, I am not gonna send them into the town clerk for posting. As some of you may know, I did extensive research on the town's website, minutes and agendas and everything going back 2 years. And on numerous occasions, minutes that should have been there weren't there, minutes that were there were not correct. But every one of them did say this is, a draft, or this is pending approval. So rather than get into a situation like that with this committee, I decided that I wasn't gonna send them in for posting until we have approved minutes. That caused a little bit of a rift. My contention is that I rather have proper minutes posted to the public than minutes that are not approved. So that's the stance I took, and if you guys want draft minutes ahead of time, what I did this time is I wrote them up, I sent them all to you guys for your input, and without objection, I would post them.
I'd like,
Sounds good. Okay, so that's how that came about, that they weren't posted. Okay, second item, was update on the status of the revised ordinances that have been approved. We are still waiting for publication. We still haven't gotten an update from the law office. I don't know if everybody's aware of it, but the town attorney has passed, and we're now working with a new gentleman and a young lady, or I don't know if she's young, I shouldn't say that, but so we're still waiting on that. Okay. So that's where number 3 is at.
was there a time, can we speak out, or?
Sure, absolutely.
Was there a time limit? They said it's gonna be like a month, or 2 months, or 3 months, they didn't tell us. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, and Tina's gone, so I couldn't get an update today.
Yeah, she's gone.
She's gone this week, taking her daughter to college. Yeehaw. She's gonna be an animal lawyer.
Activist?
Pardon?
Activist?
That's kinda cool.
So
So
back to,
anyways.
you say that the town attorney passed, or the town attorney passed, and there's a gap in.
No, there's no gap. They're working with it.
No, Anthony Kreshak, yeah, he's been working with town stuff for years, so he's not entirely new.
I guess he was, his partner, or worked in the same office.
Worked on the same office,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. So that's number 3, if anybody's got any more comments, screams of pain, agony.
Has everybody looked at the ordinances and compared them to the old ordinance book?
I have.
I think in many ways, the old ordinance book had some advantages, every ordinance was on a separate page. Now they're running all these ordinances together to save paper, but if you wanna replace it.
No, they're gonna be on,
messy.
yeah, but but we're not gonna see it on their own page until they revise it.
I don't know how they're gonna do it, so.
Wait and see.
Yep, okay.
Well,
Okay.
is that input that you can provide to have it maintain the same structure that Dale is?
Well, yeah,
referencing?
they're gonna have to be in the same structure, because everything's a sub of a sub or a new item. So they gotta be numbered accordingly. They're gonna have to be placed in a booklet accordingly.
But he's
The
saying
last
so
time
that
this
they
was-
won't one ordinance won't continue onto the same page.
The
as
last
the
time this was
previous
done,
ordinance.
you will see, as updated on whatever that date was, I don't remember, it was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it was part of it, it was done. Cause it says right at this, yeah.
Yeah, it was held up because the police department didn't get their portion done, and so it waited for quite a while, yeah.
So that's where that sits right now. Number 4, okay. I had met with Tim, he wanted to meet, and he made 2 requests of this committee. One is a ordinance that we draft an ordinance and give it to the board for approval for, social media use of employees of the county. So after I left him, I looked at it and thought about it long and hard and said, wait a minute here. You need a policy to enforce the ordinance, or vice versa, okay? Because the employees are contract, some of them, and they have a employee handbook, if you will, okay? So I put together just a really quick, policy, okay? And I sent it to Tim and said, Tim, this is how I think we should start out, is develop the policy first. And Tim agreed with that. I'm still wondering if we're the right committee to draft the policy, but Tim feels we are. So that's where I'm headed. I thought maybe the operations committee should be, more involved with this. But Tim felt that giving, Dale's background and then my background when it comes to stuff like this, that we might be able to do it more expeditiously. So, what you have in front of you is a very rough draft. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Was that back there?
You need another copy?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
I'm sorry, it's all good, it's all good.
That's all right. Kids.
62-year-old kid.
So this, here, that one doesn't have all the nonsense, but that's fine, that was my working copy. So what this is saying in general terms, and I think everybody's gotta take some time and look at it, study it, come with suggestions. I already got one from Eric. His question revolved around, it didn't say what was acceptable for non-working hours, okay? It didn't really delve into that yet. And the reason it hasn't gone any further than what we have here now is because I was trying to lay the groundwork to have something to start with. Okay, this could be good, this could be garbage. That's up to the committee to decide, is this a good starting point? Do we have to do something with this starting point? That's why I said this is for discussion. I really appreciate it. If you have questions now already, let's start discussing it, but more importantly, by the time we meet again, maybe do some of your own thoughts to expand on this, retract on this, whatever, so we can give them a policy, and then we'll start on the ordinance. Yeah.
Do they have a code of conduct now in their handbooks?
I don't have that answer.
Well, I made a couple copies here of this is from 2012.
Oh.
Is this for the
Thank you.
workers, or is it?
It's for the employees.
And that, does that include like the town chairperson and the supervisors too?
Well, it says employee handbook, so I'm not sure if this covers elected officials, appointed officials.
Do we want to
It
put that in there?
Well, if you look at it, in line number, non-official, it says in there,
Employees, non-paid interns,
Right.
employees and contractors.
right, it covers contractors, it covers everybody that's doing anything for county work, county purposes,
County.
Town,
not town.
yeah.
I'm an old
Yeah.
county guy, so, sorry, that'll come up more often, not.
So we're gonna be holding everybody
Accountable,
accountable for the same
in
thing?
some manner.
Okay,
Everybody will have to play with the same rules. Every one of us will have to play by them rules.
now, so is that like state representatives and the state senator, they have rules of conduct too?
Yes, absolutely.
Can we maybe grab some of their stuff too, to make it
Oh, yeah.
here, because, and then how is this being enforced? Now, is there gonna be a board that says this guy crossed the line, or this guy didn't cross the line?
BHR,
What,
right, the BHR,
what do you mean by BHR?
human
Oh,
resources.
human resources, okay, yeah, like, and those people have to be like open-minded, and not, I like this guy because he plays baseball with my kid.
But see, that's where that operations committee will have to step in too. Actually, once it's all said and done, we are done with it from this committee's point of view.
So, but this is supposed to propose remedies also,
Pardon?
correct? This is supposed to propose remedies as well, right? Who's allowed to use social media for town?
Well, the
business?
policy would be what goes in the book, okay? The ordinance would define what's, what word am I looking for? The
What's
ordinance.
compliant
Right,
or authorized?
compliance. So.
We're able to workshop this now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So,
This is a different question, but does the town have a point person for media or communications?
Either have to be Heather or Tina unofficially, but
Like if news reporter calls up, can they talk to anybody, or are they automatically sent to one person? Like the town council?
I don't have that answer.
I mean, what kind of concerns?
Just if they wanna comment for the press.
Yeah.
I think generally they probably would contact the town chairperson. But, Tina and Heather are the ones that are here. Tina's the custodian of records, so in the absence of the chairperson, Tina would probably be the one that would get the call.
And another probably dumb question, but is the reason this is being drafted is because of like willy-nilly social media use by
There's been,
employees?
and I'm as guilty as the
Regarding
next
town
person.
business?
There's been a lot of false information put out on the web by persons that were directly related and working with the town in different capacities, that, they misled the public in posts, and that's one of the big things. That's pretty much what started Tim to head down this path. When he talked to me, I said, I agree. I come from county government. I had to live with code of conduct and, every job I've ever had, I've had to adhere to certain rules when it comes to public appearance, public public statements. You know, I've had people fired at Miller when I worked at Miller because they, you know, badmouthed Miller.
Yeah, I worked in Miller too.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
I think John has a good idea of seeing what best practices are in use at different levels of government, for crafting beyond what you've already defined. as
This
far
was
as-
just to open up a discussion.
But then, it seems to me, there should only be specific people designated to be allowed to post on social media regarding town business.
But
Well,
Dave,
It's not, no, it's not, First Amendment.
no, let's get this here now. Is this going through the town social media, or is this private social media that we're trying to watch out?
Okay.
Cause if it's private, hell, as all, look at Trump, what he does.
Anything that has to do with the town current, exposure on the web, okay, is where we're starting.
So that's private and town media. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty straightforward that you only want specific people authorized to comment, to discuss town business. And if I get a phone call asking, hey, what about this ordinance? I'll say, well, talk to Dave, he's head of the committee, or whoever is authorized to speak about it. And you'll just eliminate a lot of issues, like what little brush fires that will come up, because if somebody knows that there's penalties for posting because they disagree with the internal policy, because that's what you're trying to combat, right?
Correct.
Those people have to govern themselves. You can have all the rules here, but if they're not gonna abide by it, like a certain individual in the White House who doesn't abide by it, who attacks everybody at any time of the day at midnight, then how can you really enforce it if this guy can do it? Why can't this guy do it, you know? I mean, if it's on, say, the town media site, then absolutely, then I think you have the right to absolutely code of conduct. Don't attack another person on the board. Don't attack this, do not badmouth, I dig it. But when it comes to private, then we have to be careful so we don't step on someone's right and then we get sued.
Exactly.
So,
But even if you're commenting privately about town business, that still should not be allowed. It should be deferred to whoever your direct report is.
I think, and that's why I wrote it the way I did.
You can complain to somebody at a bar, but, to post it, you're putting it up in lights that can never be dimmed.
that's a public venue then.
Exactly.
That's a public venue, absolutely. Now, being a government entity, the rules are a little bit different for a government employee than they are for a at-will employee at a private company. A private company can and has won court cases in the state of Wisconsin where employees have been fired for derogatory comments made about their employer. On the other side of that, as a government worker, they have to have the freedom of speech guaranteed to them. We can't infringe on their First Amendment rights as a official. Now, an employee, that's a little bit different. Like Dale would be well within his rights to make comment on something that's happening in the town, as long as it doesn't disparage another board member. You know, that's the type of things we're looking for board members. But the employees should be under a strict, you know, that's why they're split out a little bit here. Do we want a contractor coming in here and doing a job for the town and turning around and walking out the door and badmouthing the town? No. You know, non-disclosure, whatever we need to build in, we gotta build in. That's why I'd like everybody to take this seriously and work on something, let's work on ideas, so next meeting, we can have a real heart-to-heart discussion on where we should head. Any thoughts?
Well, I would suggest that, I'm kind of sad Tina's off this week because, I've helped draft a lot of ordinances, and usually what Tina does is she'll get on her website with all of her town clerk buddies
Right.
across the state, and she'll say, do you have an ordinance on chickens? Do you have an ordinance on whatever? And it could be the same thing with social media. Now, somebody mentioned the county earlier. I don't know if the county has, this kind of code of conduct with, technology use, but certainly there must be other municipalities, other levels of government that do. So if we could get 3 or 4 or 5 examples, each of us go through them on our own time, pick out the things that we like, eliminate the things that we don't like, try to put something together in a draft form, show it to the town attorney, present a rough draft to the full board, after we've all agreed that this sounds kind of good. But I think for us to start from scratch, and I will confess, I'm the lowest tech person here.
No.
I can take pictures, I can send you a text if I already have one of your texts, but if I don't have a text of yours, I can't do it. So we need something that's already been done that we can modify and work for the
This,
town. So that's what I'd suggest.
I agree 100%.
And I know that Heather and Tina have talked about redoing the employee handbook, so this should probably be either replace this chapter 7 in our handbook if we come up with it, or modify this at the same time.
So would you get a hold of Tina the week she gets back?
I could get a hold of Tina next week for townships, but if any other level of government, state or county, or even private, if somebody else could, spare up some other examples, that would be good.
When I was doing work for Uncle Sam, a lot of this came from what I had decided that I do when I was doing contract work for Uncle Sam. This comes from their, Office of Personnel, blah, blah, blah. So that's where I got a lot of these ideas from, because I had to actually sign something that, not spill the beans on the same.
So I guess I'm unclear, that employee handbook, it doesn't govern everybody that does work
No.
for the town.
Well, I don't know that that's been a real problem in the past with contractors or anything. I think it's, being on hate book and, saying outrageous things and making accusations and I don't go on Facebook, so I've seen some screenshots that have horrified me, but I haven't, I don't cruise the web, so.
But there is a policy in place now that prohibits anybody affiliated with the town from posting on social media about town business.
I think this from the handbook is, to my knowledge, is all that there is. Now, if Tina were here, we could ask her if there was anything else, but I don't think that there would be.
What these towns next to us, like Vernon and Big Bend, do they have something that we can look at too?
Well, that's what I was suggesting. If Tina were here this week, I would have asked her to scare up a few, but I'll ask her next week. And I'll give her a few days, because when she comes back, she's gonna have 5 million emails and stuff to go through. But, she can generally find examples of ordinances from different townships
We belong,
with her connections.
the town belongs to the town association, and they have quite an extensive resource library.
Oh, that's an idea.
I will check into the, town association.
Oh, that's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
They often have a, what do you call it, framework ordinance.
Yes.
Plug your township in, so that's really an excellent thought, Dave.
I will take that responsibility.
Who is the person, or is there the people that will say, this post crossed the line? Who's gonna be the enforcer? That's the thing I'm concerned about.
You see, somebody mentioned human resources earlier. We don't have a human resources person, so I think it would have to be up to the full board. If there was a complaint, I think it would probably get sent to Tina, and then it would be shown to the chair, who might put it on the agenda or call a special meeting. So that's probably how.
Or you might send it to the operations committee.
But think about it,
Perhaps.
okay, you know,
Yeah.
if we send it to the board, you know what I'm saying? We need somebody outside of the town. Not the board, not the operations, someone outside who's neutral. Because you can have the board here and all these people, I like this guy, but I don't like this guy. I like this guy, I don't like this guy. We need a neutral body, the people with common sense to say yes or no to this, instead of the board chairman or whoever picks this one, and then when you're picked, you owe this person, you know what I'm saying? We need someone neutral.
That's
That's
what
what the
the
full
HR
board, so the whole board would be buddies with anybody in particular, I don't think. I don't know who the outside person would be.
So you don't have anybody to monitor it unless it's flagged by somebody that resents it.
Some complaint will come in, maybe somebody will mention at a board meeting, you know, so-and-so, you posted this and that's a lie, and
So
I think that's,
I think,
gives you even more reason that you wanna make the structure of this much as rigid as you possibly can. That anybody that is doing town business, you're not authorized to post on social media unless you're authorized to. And then, if they run afoul of that and somebody marches into a town meeting saying so-and-so posted, then you've got recourse.
so I'll take on the responsibility of contacting the town association. Dale's gonna contact Tina when she's back, after she's back a few days. If everybody would just take the time to read what I presented now, to get an idea of, and then do some research on your own and try to figure out, you know, if you found any, verbiage that you think is important.
Yeah, because if you don't have the ability to police it, which that costs money, you need to circumvent the activity ahead of time.
Anything further on this one? All good.
anybody have any contacts with the private sector for policies like this, or any other places we should look?
I can go through my HR and see what they have, but we have a HR in our company, and it's like sexual harassment, slandering someone's name in the field, and I can talk to them, see what they're all about.
Yeah, they might have a policy, I'm sure they probably. will.
Miller didn't have
That'd be
one
helpful.
back in the day when I worked at Miller. That guy was shooting his mouth off the camera. He was reading.
I'm speaking from experience and my feedback in that in the financial services industry, nobody is allowed to speak to media, post-town media about company business unless you're authorized to.
Well, media has this ambassador stuff. So there was a guy working with Miller wearing a Budweiser hat at the Brewers game. He got fired.
You got fired.
He got fired from it. But that's, come on. How can you govern someone outside of work?
And it's stuck.
Yeah, it's tough, but how can you govern someone outside of work?
Reputational risk.
He took it to court.
He hits
He
it.
lost.
What the heck? It's a freaking hack.
Yeah, that's crossing the line to me too, but it was upheld, I guess.
I think, the brewery workers line, I think, took that to, arbitration.
Yeah, he got fired, cause Miller, it's an ambassador. It's just unbelievable. Code of conduct on and off the field,
Yep.
too rigid.
So I'm gonna move on from this one unless there's more. Okay,
So the next
The
month. will
next
be,
item.
So what are the deliverables,
pardon?
what are the deliverables for this what do you want us to do? Or are you
Well,
taking-
I'm gonna get what I can from the, town association. Dale's gonna see some stuff. Of course, we'll share, whatever I get my hands on, I'll share, whatever Dale gets, he'll share. And then, you know, just your thoughts, whatever thoughts you come up with, there's not a bad thought. You know, every thought deserves discussion. All right, next up. Now, this was very vague. It was very vague deliberately. Okay, so, The reason it was left vague is because this one is controversial, to say the least. It's the draft resolution, that's a draft up there. Now, again, my thought on this was that we should, in Tim's mind, when I met with him, is that this ordinance committee also should be drawing up resolutions, anything that has to do with how it, so this resolution, Tim asked that a resolution be written that authorizes our police committee to work with the village police committee. Now that there's a signed contract in place for 1 year, we have a year to try to resolve issues, and if there's gonna be, I don't know where it's gonna head. It's not up to us to decide where it's gonna head or how that's all gonna work out. That's why they have to open up a dialogue between the two. Certain members of the board are opposed to it 150%, don't want any, they're fighting every step of the way. So by resolution, the town board with that resolution is giving the committee that's already exists the authorization to work with the village. Now, they'll have to follow the guideline, the guidance of the town board. So this is nothing more than a way to, and I'm gonna use the word circumvent any problems by saying a resolution was passed on this date, this time, posted, and these people can meet.
So we're saying they can meet.
We're not,
Okay.
the board is.
The board is.
The resolution is giving them that power.
Okay.
Now, it's a draft resolution. I forwarded it to Tim, I forwarded it to all you guys, and it's strictly a draft. He's already asking for legal on it.
Oh, good. I was gonna ask
Okay.
you to bounce it off the attorney yet.
Yes.
Did you send that
So-
this afternoon?
Pardon me?
When did you send it?
I didn't receive it.
I didn't either.
I printed it out this morning, so.
Well,
What came with,
maybe
what came from Rihanna, I think.
Yeah, Rihanna's.
Yeah, I didn't check.
I didn't get it, there should be one back there too. Was there one back there?
It's on the back side of the other one.
Oh, it's on the back side of one. If you wanna just,
Yeah, Rihanna sent it out yesterday.
I've got it.
Rupert.
So this is, like I said, it's strictly a draft. I wasn't trying to circumvent anybody, but I was put under a, he wanted it discussed tonight already. He wants to get this moving as expeditiously as possible. Cause like I said, the contract's been approved by both parties. As far as I know, signed, I don't know. I'm not privy to that stuff. All that I was told is that the contracts are in place and we've got a year to try to figure this nonsense out. And that's where it sits.
So you drafted this, Dave?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So you just want feedback on anything to be added or modified?
Well, yeah, and it's gone to legal, and although legal is okay with it, that's an absolute.
But it's kind of pretty straightforward, right?
Why are people against it?
Yeah, what's the
What's the
pushback?
reasoning that people are against it?
What's,
We need to know why they're against it.
yeah, what's the
Yeah.
pushback?
What's the pushback?
Just having it
So
back.
the pushback is a minority lost an election based on wanting to, a lot of things transpired, but one of the big things that transpired was the dismantling of our police department. And through a lot of discussions, a lot of people were fostering misinformation. That goes back to the other policy. And currently on the board, we do have people on the board who have fought any movement forward on our police department. They still feel that the sheriff should be doing our policing, and the village should be on their own, figuring out what they want to do. Okay, that's how it got.
Okay.
So, what I drafted, I was given this to do on, Tuesday. It's now Thursday, and, you know, I think I covered all the bases, but Tim's got it and said he forwarded it to me.
So this is presented to the board then, correct?
Yes.
And they vote on
They decide.
Okay.
Us.
it, okay?
We give them
And what does this actually give them? It gives them the right to have them to talk to them then, right?
right. That's all it does.
And then, if we didn't have this, and people wanna talk, these people want to talk to these people, they can't do it right now, right?
Not without a big hassle of threats of lawsuits and everything else.
And the purpose of the dialogue is to,
We don't, the purpose of the dialogue, as I understand it, is for the two groups to meet and try to figure out if the status quo should be kept, where we just provide the service, or should it be a joint venture, or, you know, them are the discussions that need to take place. The village is very interested in working with us. When they were told we couldn't work with them, that they approved going with the sheriff's department, the village took it upon themselves to initiate a, exploratory committee, okay, to look at how they would police the village. When the town board decided, no, we're not getting rid of our police department, we're gonna try to rebuild it, they formed a committee, which originally the committee was told that they don't have any authority, they got blah, 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 by board members. But now that they do, this just gives them more authority. A charter was passed that says, this is the committee. There was a resolution that was passed that said, I forgot the exact verbiage that I put together, but there was a resolution passed that authorized the committee. That was, I call it number one, and you guys got item number two.
okay.
That was Dave. Anyways, so if you read through this, I think all the bases are covered. And then we'll, once we get it back from legal, there may be a ton of changes, I don't know. And then we'll have to look at it again.
But in this case, this is already packaged, ready to go, assuming nothing jumps off to any of us or legal.
With the one that authorized the committee, that resolution went to legal, and a few minor changes were made in syntax, you know, and or, you know, whatever. And I imagine that might happen here, but the meaning behind it stayed the same.
No. If this is passed, okay?
Pardon me?
If this is passed, if this resolution is passed, okay, by the board?
Has it?
When it gets,
Oh,
if
okay.
it gets passed,
Right.
that means that we cannot have more lawsuits and everything, you know what I'm saying? Cause if they're saying no right now, cause we might do a big hoop-de-doo and a lawsuit and this and this and this, would this little piece of paper be saying okay, would that stop all that stuff?
It's a resolution that says that the town board has authorized a committee authorized by the town board to have discussions. They can't make any decisions, but they can report back to the board, here's where things are headed, maybe this is, and everything falls on the board's shoulder
Yeah.
of what happens. So there can be no argument about them meeting. Okay?
So you can sue over that.
Right.
Let's wait for legal and see what legal says and then go in from there, but absolutely, I always follow the law. Okay, that's fine.
And that's what this was all about. Any comments? Dale?
I kinda thought this should have been from day one when we established the police committee, that it should have been an intergovernmental committee to begin with. Because
Yes.
if we're expecting to have a joint village town police department and expecting them to foot half the bill, I think they should have input on who the chief is and who the officers are. But, you know, we're
Agreed.
moving forward and this can start moving in that direction.
Yeah.
So I think it's a
Because
great idea.
time-
I have one question though, does the village have to pass a similar resolution?
They already have.
Oh, they have, is it?
I don't know what their resolution says, I know that their committee has been authorized to work with the town.
Oh, okay, so good,
That much I know.
okay. Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
So,
And we happen to have the head of the police committee here, so,
No comment. No public comment, it's not on your agenda. Don't make me send this to Hanson for rule breaking.
okay.
so just for a little background for John. The town never really worked out the resolutions too long, from what I've been told. And the first resolution that I know of about the police department was the one that was passed in whatever.
Somewhere around there,
Yeah, so, and in that, it left the door open to doing this. The reason it was done that way is that, first and foremost, we had to get beyond the bickering, beyond the name calling, beyond this, to try to move forward, okay? We were under a time crunch. We had to do something by the end of June. The contract expired. I don't know.
yeah, I forget the date too, I think it was in June, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so we were under a time crunch to get, our committee made and try to get things agreeable so that the contract could get extended and signed. And that's where this, and then now this. So that's how it's progressing. Fair enough?
We need to go forward.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
So then we're waiting for legal to provide input.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I probably won't hear nothing back from Tim until sometime next week, I would hope.
Okay.
Or he might just throw it at you guys on Monday. I don't know.
What about that mail? He said it was sent, he's really wanting to send a letter. Remember you said that to me on the phone? He said Tim was gonna send a letter to each and every one of us?
That's what I would,
That came up, nothing,
not yet.
I'm still waiting for the cyberspace. Okay.
Yeah, but I know, and I'm not making excuses for anyone. I know Tim has got a ton on his plate trying to get us moving forward. And, that's where that all sits. Other than that, there's nothing else on the agenda. Motion to adjourn would be in order.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
And 6:15-ish. All righty. Thanks, everybody.